Okay, so I wanted to make a hopefully short video about this just because I think it's in keeping with my Travels with Blind Cane channel name, and yeah, it's an issue concerning travel and being blind, so it's a thing. For those that don't know, I moved to Copenhagen, Denmark in early August because I was admitted to the University of Copenhagen for the fall semester of 2021, which is currently taking place. Um, with my vision disability, I have diabetic retinopathy due to being type 1 diabetic all my life, and I woke up one morning in 2009 and I could only see red out of my left eye because I had had a hemorrhage in it. I went to the hospital in my hometown. They refused to do anything because they would have needed to call in a specialist who wasn't around, and they referred me to a vision clinic. And so I went there and told them the issue, and they said, "Oh, yes, we can do the surgery." 2 days later, they called back and said that since I did not have vision insurance, that they could not perform the surgery. And I asked them what I was supposed to do because without that surgery, I was going to lose the vision in that eye. And they basically shrugged at me because the US is that way. And they told me to investigate going to a ophthalmology department at a university in Florida and get it done there for cheaper. And I was just like, at that time, I had no income whatsoever, and I was extremely poor, and there was no way in hell I could possibly afford that. So that did not happen, needless to say. And I lost the vision in that eye. I can no longer see out of it at all. It's just completely black. Sometimes some light gets through, but it's not enough to actually see anything. I was also born without peripheral vision, so I've always had tunnel vision my entire life. I never knew that this was really an issue, but when I applied finally for disability in 2017, the doctors that the state of North Dakota, where I was living at the time, sent me to said that yes, that qualifies me as blind. And so I received Social Security disability payments for being legally blind. So, yes, I am legally blind, despite having some issues with other states in America about that, which is ridiculous because apparently, if you leave the country for any reason, your disabilities suddenly disappear, according to them, or some weird thing. I don't know. But they wouldn't allow me to get back on it, and it's just a whole stupid thing. But yeah, America is not a place I want to live just for the healthcare. But regardless, yes, I have a very hard time reading physical texts. I cannot read actual books any longer. I can read online versions because I can expand the font a great deal. Like, I'm sure you can see, this is a 15-inch laptop, and I have this zoomed in to about probably 250%. I'm not sure, but it's quite large. Um, Normally I use a screen reader, but I thought that would be annoying as hell for a video, so I did not. But I didn't think this would be an issue. And I know in Scandinavia, especially in Sweden and I guess Denmark as well, people go on vacations that are basically all summer long. Most things are not open. And the university was no exception. So when I emailed disability services at the university back in June originally about this, I got no reply except, "Oh, we'll reply to you in August." So I said, okay. And I waited and I waited and I waited and nothing happened. And when I came over to sign my paperwork for my student funding through the university, I was told that I needed to speak with disability services. So I emailed them again on the 13th of September because I still hadn't heard anything. And my email basically just says my name and that I have a vision disability. I've lost the vision in my left eye. and was born without peripheral vision. These things mean that it's difficult for me to read printed text without significant strain and pain. I would love to book an interview, but as I am not an EU student, I have not received my CPR number, which is the Danish civic registration number. I then went on to say that I do have my residence permit and I have applied online for a CPR number, but I'm waiting for them to either approve the application or not. Due to this, I'm not sure if I'm able to apply for SPS services, student something support. I don't know. and, was wondering if you might be able to clarify if I'm able to have an interview and start the process without having a CPR number yet. Because I had read online, Denmark apparently is not the best country for disability accommodation, but it's a Nordic country. It's a modern European nation, and I know for a fact that they have right of equal access for any disabled person. Like, all public institutions have to grant that. And it never even crossed my mind that it would be an issue, especially since I am a legal resident of the country of Denmark. I have a residence permit that is valid until the 23rd of December 2023. It is currently the 18th of September 2021. This residence permit was granted to me because I am studying at the largest university in Denmark as a master's student. I am paying tuition fees because I am a non-EU student, and I am paying hundreds of thousands of Danish kroner per year to live in this country. I had not even fathomed that it would possibly be an issue for me to receive support through the university. I just thought, everyone is entitled to that. Every European country I've ever been to, even in the States, people are entitled to that, even if they're coming from abroad to study. The reply that I finally got, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to scroll a little bit, and this is going to be annoying, but yes, they replied to me on that Tuesday, and I honestly, this was last week, or this past Tuesday actually, and today is Saturday, so yeah, it hasn't been very long, and I haven't been getting much sleep because this has been so stressful, but as you can probably read, thank you for your email. When you are not an EU citizen, you must be able to be equated as a Danish citizen in relation to SU rules in order to be eligible for SPS. Okay. SU is a grant that is given to students in Denmark and from other EU countries in order to pay for living expenses while studying. That's all well and good, but it is not applicable to students that are not European. In all my years of studying political science, disability rights, human rights, everything else, I have never heard of accommodations for a disability in a public institution being dependent on whether or not you receive a grant from the country that you are in. It does not make any sense, but they said that you have to have that. If you're entitled to this grant, you're also entitled to student whatever services. And then they sent me a link to the rules for equal status with a Danish citizen. So I went to that website, and if you are a foreign citizen, you can be granted equal status according to Danish rules and apply for SU at a study program in Denmark. See, that's the thing. I don't want the student grant. I mean, obviously, I'm a human being and I'm poor, and it's not like I would say no to extra money, but I'm not asking for it because it's a significant amount of money per month, and yes, it would help me, but I know that I'm not eligible for it, and I don't really want it. That's not what I'm after. I just want accommodation so I can be able to study on an equal level with a Danish citizen. But apparently, according to this, there are different Danish rules according to which you may apply for equal status, or according to which you may apply for equal status with Danish citizens so that you can receive SU. There are different conditions, blah, blah, blah. The conditions are, you came to Denmark with your parents, no. You're married to a Danish citizen. Also no. You have worked in Denmark. Well, I'm not registered in Denmark, so I can't work. You have resided in Denmark for a minimum of 5 years. No, I have not. You belong to the Danish minority in southern Schleswig. I'm not sure how to say that, but obviously I do not. Or you must be a refugee or an alien granted family reunification of the Act of Integration of Aliens in Denmark, none of which I apply for or qualify for. So basically, what they were telling me through the disability services at the largest university in Denmark that admitted me to their program, knowing that I was not a European citizen, and I'm still just so utterly shocked that I can't even begin. But so after reading this, I went back and I just replied to them and said, I'm not entitled to SU, the student grant, as I'm not European, so that means I cannot get accommodations for my disability at all. That seems a bit strange. I have a vision disability and cannot see printed text to be able to do well in my studies. It took them until Friday to reply to this, and the Maria person in my email here, she is the head of my program, and she has been working with me, and that she's a wonderful person, and I think I'm going to be able to make it work without their help, but it's still quite frustrating. Basically, their reply is, unfortunately, it is correct that we cannot help you with support and AIDS, which they capitalize as the disease, through SPS. However, it may be that you can buy yourself for support through, for example, suppliers for our students who are blind or visually impaired. It will be something that you have to pay yourself. If you also need a secretary, you can also try contacting our supplier, blah blah phone number. Please contact them to find out whether it is possible for you to buy their service. So basically what they're saying is, because I am not European, nor am I equivalent to a Danish citizen, I have to pay for the most basic of accommodations to be allowed to study at the university they admitted me to, and that my residence permit is for. I'm sorry. I'm just so angry and upset about this because it's absolutely ridiculous. And the head of my program is also really upset, and she's been contacting people at the International Full Degree Office, and there are a number of NGOs and disability service organizations that I've been given contact information for, and I really think that I might just go ahead and contact them, because this is just, I still can't believe it. I really don't understand how this can be a legal thing, and I kind of went off on this poor Tanya Lillelund person from the Functional Impairment Counselor, which I would say that being blind is a functional impairment, and she works for the University of Copenhagen. Yeah. Education and student support and study environment. Like, that is her job. And I just... what? But yeah, I was very upset, and I kind of went off on her, and I said, so to be clear, because I'm not European, I'm forced to pay for supports for my disability myself. Can I ask how this is legal? Is it not law in Denmark that equal access to education is granted to everyone? I then went on to say, I did not choose to lose my vision, nor did I choose where I was born. I am shocked that this is in any way allowed to take place. And what my head of department and I, or head of program and I spoke about the other day when we were trying to work things out, because the department doesn't have money to pay for supports. So mostly it's looking like this is going to cost me a shit ton of money that I should not have to pay, because they have the ability to do it. I know for damn sure that they could take a portion of my tuition or whatever the fuck, or some of the fees that I'm paying to this university, because this information is not publicly accessible. They have it hidden under layers. Like, if you go on this SPS services website, it says, you have to inquire with us as to whether or not we can assist you. But to do that, you email them, and then they email you back and say, no, you have to qualify for this European grant that I don't qualify for. And I am just shocked that this is the disability support services of the largest university in the country, to which I was admitted to study for 2 years and to be able to search for a job for 6 months afterward. And yet, I am not allowed any disability support whatsoever, even the most basic of things, because I am not entitled to a grant that Danish citizens and other Europeans can get. Yeah, I'm going to have to stop this because I'm getting really upset about it, but I want this to be public. Like, if I am going to speak with every disability rights organization that I possibly can, because I want people to know about this. It's a brand new thing, to be clear. As I said, I had looked on other blogs for international students before, and this restriction on disability accommodations was never mentioned in any of them. It's apparently a brand new regulation. And the head of my program said she'd never heard of it. None of the people in the international student department had ever heard of it. And it's just, nobody knows about it because they don't want people to. Denmark has been under fire recently for passing some, or at least introducing some legislation to basically be very, very unaccommodating to people. Like, I know they got in trouble because they had suggested that asylum seekers to Denmark who were living in processing centers in the country itself, they were suggesting that they go to a processing center or refugee camp in Africa while their case was being processed. Like, they weren't allowed to live in the country they were seeking asylum in. They wanted them to go to Africa to do that. So they were under fire for that for quite a bit. Denmark has also, very recently, shut down a lot of English language master's programs because xenophobia, basically, that's all it is, because they have to let Europeans in, because that's the only way they can stay in the European Union, and they want to do that because economics and money and fun times. But it's a whole big thing. It's like with the Sweden Democrats. They're all just, the governments around the world now are starting to go more conservative and more right-wing and be against immigration policies. And I just think the whole thing is utterly insane. But this is actually why I'm studying here. I came to study Advanced Migration Studies. That is the name of my program. And my original research topic was going to be the Sweden Democrats and how they were affecting laws in Sweden relating to migrants and the welfare state and social services. But now, this is my it is my disability, but no, this is going to be my dissertation, because I am going to research the hell out of this and make it as public as I possibly can, because I really don't think it's fair. I mean, if I were completely blind and I had come over and asked for this and waited for over a month, or basically closer to 3 months, to receive a response about it, only to be told that they can't help me at all and I have to pay for everything myself, if I were completely blind, there is absolutely no way I'd be able to do that. So I would have to, well, for one thing, to be able to get a residence permit in this country, you must prove that you have residence in it, like a place to live, a physical address. That means you have to sign a lease. And guess what that means? You have to pay a lot of money to do that. So basically, because there's nothing about this publicly, if I were in a wheelchair and needed accommodations that way, or if I were completely blind and needed accommodations that way, or really anything else, I would have had to pay hundreds of thousands of Danish kroner to come over here, only to be told that they cannot provide me with basic accommodation that anyone else, if they're Danish or European, would be able to get. So I just think, yeah, the whole thing, and it's going to really upset me. So I think I'm just going to stop this because it's enough ranting. But I wanted people to know this because it is just one in a series of multiple such regulations and registrations and whatever, restrictions, I guess, that are being placed on migrants due to national origin and disability. And it's absolutely insane.